All right, so I'm going to kick us off and introduce us to our first speaker tonight, Laura Golland. She's the Executive Director of Communications and Fundraising at Wellington Free Ambulance. I've known Laura for quite a while and I found some things out about her. She started her fundraising career making crunchy nut cornflake biscuits for a school bake sale. An absolute hit, they sold out very quickly, but her profits were eroded a little bit by eating through her quality control testing. But that attention to detail has held her in really good stead, and she's led her team recently to grow the income from Wellington Free by about 1.6 million in just 3 years, which is pretty amazing for what is a fairly teeny tiny team there at Wellington Free Ambulance. Inspired by how misunderstood some causes are and the importance of championing those causes that are less attractive to donors, Laura hopes to one day work with one of New Zealand's incredible charities working to support those who are homeless. Please welcome Laura as she shares her IWITOT titled Donate in His Name.
Hello. First of all, really honoured. I'm the first person on for the New Zealand IWITOT. No pressure. And great to be here. I want to start with saying that what I've got today is not just an IWITOT, it is an IWITOT. Thank you to Lee Harrow at our Australian Conservation Foundation who presented this back at DigiRaise a couple of years ago. But really, I wish I thought of this. And when she presented it, it just filled my little fundraising heart with joy, and it makes me laugh every time I think of it. And so as soon as Fee asked me if I'd present, this is it. This is what I had to do. No questions. So, we all know this guy. Champion of women's rights that he is. Now, who do we think has a worse record for protecting female reproductive rights? Any guesses? This guy. So this is Mike Pence. He's a Vice President of the US, extreme anti-abortionist, anti-LGBTQ, and evangelical Catholic. When he was governor of Indiana, he signed every abortion restriction bill that passed his desk. And when he and Trump came to power, they vowed to defund reproductive rights organisations across the US, and they're still working to deliver that. Now, when you talk about subjects such as reproductive health, and in particular abortion, it's a very emotive subject. You tend to be very pro or very con, and there really isn't much space in between. But I don't need to say to you that taking away a woman's access to safe abortions is dangerous. It puts us back about 100 years. And millions of the women in the US have ended up feeling helpless, especially if they have no health insurance. So who is on their side? These guys, Planned Parenthood. They're an amazing organisation that provides a range of support services, just one of which is access to safe abortions. They do advice, birth control, health checks, support for women and LGBTQ communities. And they're there to help guide and support people where there's a complete absence of education and information. The defunding campaign led by Pence effectively withdraws state support for those who can't afford health insurance. Great, let's really hit the people who really need the help. And Mike Pence has led a war against Planned Parenthood since taking the vice presidency. And Planned Parenthood took it personally. In a stroke of genius, Planned Parenthood turned the tables on him and decided to use his special focused attention on them as a metaphorical stick to beat him with. With a reduction in state funding, they had to come up with a great digital campaign, and they ran ads on social media that told people they can make a donation in his name. And you look at this beautiful ad, and you can see lovely little graphics. This is a moving ad when it's on social. So little condoms flying down, little contraceptives all over the place, wonderful. And set up this lovely donation page, make a gift to Mike Pence. Not only are you plugging the gap in funding is taken away, but you're doing it in his name, which is great. So how can you top that? You can top it by making sure you provide the details of his office so that they can send a gift certificate posted directly to him when you make your donation in honour of Mike Pence. Genius. It took off over social. There's some great posts here over Twitter, and we all know who's a fan of Twitter, right? Mike Pence just donated $18 to Planned Parenthood. I was wrong about that guy. Just donated to Planned Parenthood in Mike Pence's names. It's easy, and a certificate will be sent to his office. My particular favourite, me, I'm so poor. Internet, you can make an honorary donation to Planned Parenthood in Mike Pence's names. Yeah, I can. Just genius. And it's that kind of thing that really kind of just starts to kick off and really kind of, you know it's going to annoy him. Ultimately, it's why I like it. So they carry the theme through, and the creative is just genius. Particularly, please read the fourth comment down, it's my favourite. And what they were able to do is sidestep that really difficult, yeah, you've just read it, yeah? That really difficult conversation around abortion and reproductive rights. You know, it's people are fighting against this, they're at the extremes. And it kind of bypasses that and brings some levity, and it brings a way for people to get involved in the conversation that isn't just butting heads. People loved it. This is just purely a wee snapshot from November to December in 2016, 315,000 donations. 82,000 people donated in his name between November and December. I'm not sure if every single one of them posted a certificate to him, but can you imagine his poor office staff who would be wading through these certificates, like their shredding bill must have been atrocious. And it's just a snapshot. The campaign it's still going. There's still lots of different ways that they do this. And this is another particularly beautiful one where actually, when it's animated, it's a little heart just breaking, you know, wow, poor Mike Pence. So I wish I thought of this because it is just so clever. It uses the very mechanism of making a donation to send a political message. And it sends it to someone in power who is taking away the rights for women in the US. So it helps to then empower those women to do something against it. I feel like it's the perfect antidote into that sense of helplessness that you have as a woman when men decide what you can and can't do with your body, and it's a real way to fight back. It's also a brilliantly visual campaign. I could have filled a whole hour's worth of the slides of the stuff that they've done, including like top 10 Christmas gifts for Mike Pence, box of condoms, you know, RBG t-shirt. It was just brilliant. And it plays him at his own games. The use of social media, the visual content and the targeting is fantastic, and it remains just so true to who Planned Parenthood are, and you can feel that through every single thing they do. And so while fighting for reproductive rights is a really serious subject, every single time I think about this campaign, it just makes me smile and it makes me laugh, and it's so damn clever. And I just really wish I had thought of that. Thank you.
Thank you, that was awesome. What a brilliant way to kick us off. Thanks, Laura. I knew you were going to be a great one to start us off with.